Welcome to Cost Saver Conversations. I'm Angela, and I ask the practical questions so you can quickly understand what matters. Today, I'm joined by Assad.
Hi, Angela. We're unpacking water meter savings, metered versus unmetered bills explained today, and tying it back to the wider cost saver ecosystem, including tools like water meter savings checker, metered versus unmetered, so you can turn insights into action quickly.
Just a heads up before we dive in. We are your synthetic hosts. We are great with numbers, but as AI, we can sometimes be confidently wrong. Think of us as the digital versions of your most knowledgeable, slightly caffeinated friends.
Exactly. Treat this chat as a smart estimate only, not as professional financial guidance. Always check important details with official sources or a qualified expert before making any big decisions.
Welcome back to the Cost Saver Podcast. Today, we are getting into something that, honestly, most of us probably don't think about until the bill lands on the doormat: water, and specifically, water meters. Assad, this feels like one of those topics where people either save a fortune or just make everything worse.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty fair summary. It's funny, right? Water bills rarely make the headlines, but they quietly chew through household budgets. And you're spot on. For some UK households, switching to a meter can save them over £200 a year. But for others, it genuinely pushes bills up, quite sharply sometimes.
Over £200 a year, though. With everything else going up right now, that's real money.
It really is.
What's the average bill sitting at these days, do you know?
So for 2024-25, the average UK water and sewerage bill is around £473 a year. And that's going up because companies are investing in aging infrastructure. So if you're on a high rateable value but you're not actually using much water, that figure can be hundreds of pounds too high for you specifically.
Hundreds too high. Okay, so give me a picture of who we're actually talking about here.
Right, so picture like a single retiree in a three-bed semi. That person could be overpaying by $180 to $250 a year, and they just don't know. They've never questioned it.
That's actually quite shocking when you put it like that.
Yeah.
So the common wisdom, and I think everyone's heard this, is if you've got fewer people than bedrooms, get a meter. Is that still the thing?
The old bedroom rule. Look, it's a decent starting point, I'll give it that. But it's also the reason so many people either miss out on savings or, and this is the worst outcome, actually make their bills go up. It's just too simplistic, you know? It completely ignores things like garden size, whether you've got a power shower, how often the washing machine runs, or even whether there's a slow leak under your kitchen floor that you don't know about.
Oh, so it's not just about counting heads versus rooms.
Not even close, no.
And I've been reading about compulsory metering coming in certain areas. Is that real?
Yeah, that's happening. Water companies across England are moving towards compulsory metering in water-stressed areas, particularly the southeast. Rollouts are scheduled through 2026 and 2027. And here's the thing that catches people out. Once you switch voluntarily, the clock starts on your right to change your mind. Get it wrong, and you could be locked in for years.
Wait, locked in for years? That's
Yeah, it's a bigger deal than people realize, which is why the first thing, honestly, before you do anything, is just dig out your last two water bills. Takes 10 minutes, and check whether you're currently charged by rateable value or by meter, because so many people genuinely don't know which one they're on.
that's a good point, actually. I bet a lot of people just set up the direct debit and never look at it again.
Exactly. And you can't make a sensible decision without that baseline. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's get into the mechanics then. How do these two systems actually work? Start with unmetered.
Right. So unmetered charges are based on the rateable value of your property. And this is the bit that always gets people. That valuation was last updated in 1990 for England and Wales.
1990? I know. It's genuinely ancient. So if your property had a high rental value back then, you pay more now, regardless of whether you use 2 liters a day or 2,000. The bill has a fixed standing charge and then a volumetric-style charge based on that rateable value times the company's tariff. You pay the same whether you're away for 6 months or hosting a household of 8.
So a property could have been this grand family home in 1990, high rateable value, and now it's one person rattling around in there paying through the nose.
Precisely. And for those older, larger properties with low occupancy, it's a terrible deal. But flip it around, a crowded flat share in a low rateable value property, that can actually be a bargain on unmetered. The mismatch between 1990 values and, 2026 usage patterns is where the savings hide.
Okay, and metered is more straightforward, I'm guessing. You pay for what you use?
Pretty much. The meter records every cubic meter of water coming into your property. Your bill combines a standing charge with a per cubic meter rate for water and then a separate rate for sewerage. And just to put it in perspective, 1 cubic meter is 1,000 liters. That's roughly 13 average showers or 12 washing machine cycles.
13 showers. Okay, that actually helps me picture it.
Yeah, it makes it more real, doesn't it? And the rates vary a lot between suppliers. Southern Water, Thames Water, Yorkshire Water, all different tariffs. Some apply seasonal charges, surface water drainage charges. The volumetric approach rewards low users and penalizes heavy ones.
Right. So what about leaks? Because I've heard that's the big scary thing with meters.
Oh, it's a massive risk. If you have a leak on your side of the stopcock, a meter bills you for every single drop. Under unmetered billing, that same leak is invisible to your wallet. A dripping outdoor tap, just a drip, can add $100 or more to a metered bill in a year. £100 for a dripping tap?
Yep.
That's wild. So you fix leaks before switching, not after.
Absolutely. That order matters.
What if a meter just can't be installed, though? Like, is it just tough luck? You're stuck on unmetered?
No, actually, and this is something most people don't know about, there's a third option called an assess charge. If a meter can't physically be installed, and some flats and shared supplies genuinely can't be metered, your supplier has to offer you an assess charge. It's based on property type, occupancy, or fixed tariff, and it's often cheaper than the rateable value bill.
Oh, I didn't know that existed.
Yes, one of those things. You have a legal right to request a meter, and if installation isn't practical, the assess charge kicks in automatically. So don't assume it's just unmetered or nothing.
That's actually really reassuring for people in flats. Okay, let's get into the mistakes then. Beyond the bedroom rule, what trips people up?
So the big one after the bedroom rule is just guessing your consumption. Most people wildly underestimate how much water they use. The Energy Saving Trust puts average per-person consumption at around 142 liters per day.
142 liters per person?
Per person per day. So a family of 4, you're looking at roughly 207 cubic meters a year. And that's before you factor in gardening, washing the car, a leaky overflow.
Wow, okay, so what should people do instead of guessing?
Before switching, spend at least a week actually reading the meter. Your supplier will fit month-free, and you get a trial period. Just look at the real numbers. Guessing costs people real money.
Fair enough. And I wanted to ask about, I was going to say, actually, the hidden costs, the charges people don't expect on a metered bill. What are those?
Right. So a big one is standing charges and sewage rates. People focus on the unit rate for water, but standing charges and sewage arounds often make up 40 to 60% of a metered bill. Two households using identical amounts of water can end up with very different bills depending on their supplier and drainage arrangements.
40 to 60%? That's most of the bill.
Yeah, and then there's sewage specifically. It's usually billed as a percentage of water supplied, typically 95%. But here's the thing. If you use a lot of water outdoors, like a swimming pool or heavy garden watering, you might qualify for a reduced sewage allowance because that water isn't going into the sewer.
I hadn't thought about it like that. And they don't tell you this, do they?
No, suppliers rarely volunteer that information. You have to ask.
Of course. What else?
Surface water drainage charges. If rainwater from your roof and driveway drains into the public sewer, you're paying usually $30 to $60 a year for that. But loads of properties don't actually drain to the public sewer. They use soakaways or drain to a stream, and those people are entitled to a rebate. That one refund alone can offset a metering decision that goes slightly wrong.
Oh, I've seen that on my bill, but I've never once thought to check whether I'm actually draining to the public sewer. That's embarrassing.
Don't worry, almost nobody checks, but it's worth it. And then there's the one I always bang on about, water short.
Go on.
So water short is criminally underused. Only a small fraction of eligible households actually claim it. If someone in your household has a medical condition requiring high water use, or you're on certain benefits with 3 or more children under 19, it caps your metered bills at the average for your area, and it can be worth 150 to 400 pounds a year depending on where you live.
150 to 400 pounds? That's for families who are already struggling, that could be transformative.
It really could. 15 minutes on your supplier's website. That's all it takes to check.
Okay, so let me ask about the trial period, because you mentioned it earlier. How does that actually work?
So in England and Wales, if you request a meter voluntarily, you get 24 months to change your mind and revert to unmetered billing. It's your safety net essentially, but you need to keep records of your consumption throughout it. And actually, I should mention, Scotland's different because water there is publicly owned and billed through council tax, so different rules apply.
24 months. Okay, that's actually quite generous.
It is, but people forget about it. Set a calendar reminder seriously 6 weeks before it ends, so you've got time to make the call.
That's smart. Now, I love a good real-world example. Have you got one that shows how this plays out differently for different people?
Yeah, actually. So consider someone like Margaret from Bristol, a widow in a 4-bed Victorian house with a rateable value of $280. Under the bedroom rule, she should have switched years ago. She did and saved 312 pounds in her first year alone.
312. Brilliant.
But, and this is the important bit, her neighbor Dan, a plumber running a home-based business, 2 teenage kids, identical property, he tried the same thing and his bill trumped by 140 pounds.
Oh, no.
Same rule, opposite outcomes. That's why the bedroom rule on its own just doesn't cut it.
Yeah, that really drives it home. So give me the slam dunk cases. When does metering almost always win?
Okay, so strong candidates, single occupants or couples in properties with high rateable values, older people whose water use has dropped since the kids left, households that travel a lot or have a second home, water-efficient homes with modern appliances and dual flush loos, basically anyone where the rateable value feels disproportionate to what they're actually using.
And the other side? When does it almost always lose?
Large families and small, low-rateable value properties. Homes with older, high-flow bathroom fittings that aren't being replaced anytime soon. Properties with big gardens needing heavy summer watering. Home businesses that use loads of water, dog grooming, hairdressing, food prep, that kind of thing. And properties with known plumbing issues that haven't been fixed yet.
Right, that all makes sense. Now, one thing I think people worry about is just, what if I get it wrong? Like, the anxiety of making the wrong call.
Yeah, and I get that. But look, you've got the 24-month trial period. If your bills go up, you switch back at no cost. And the meter installation itself, no fee. Your water company has to fit it free of charge on request. It's usually fitted in an external boundary box, so there's no plumbing disruption inside your house.
Oh, that's actually reassuring. I think people imagine someone ripping up their kitchen floor or something.
No, nothing like that. And I should mention, people sometimes ask about switching supplier. For most households, you can't. Water is a regional monopoly. But you can control which billing method you're on, which is the bit that actually matters for your bill.
Okay, so if someone's listened to all of this and they're thinking, right, I want to do this properly, what's the order of operations?
So first, fix any known leaks. Get a plumber to check the loo, taps, stopcock. Second, take a baseline reading using the free meter your supplier fits. Third, note the trial period start date and set that calendar reminder for 6 weeks before it ends. Fourth, Set up quarterly meter reading reminders so estimates don't creep in, because estimated readings often overshoot and you end up with a nasty catch-up bill.
Yeah, nobody wants that surprise.
Exactly. And then, check if you're eligible for the surface water drainage rebate. Check WaterSure if it's relevant to your household. And then just review your annual bill against actual consumption to make sure the switch is still working for you. Because life changes, right? A new baby, adult kids moving back home, working from home more, a new bathroom, all of that shifts the maths.
That's a really good point. The decision isn't just set and forget, is it?
No, it's not. And honestly, if you're doing the sums properly, finding your rateable value, estimating consumption at 142 liters per person per day, looking up your supplier's unit rates, factoring in sewerage at 95% of water volume, adding standing charges, if the meter total isn't at least 50 pounds lower, you should probably think carefully. Under 30 pounds saving and the risk of household changes probably outweighs the gain.
That's a useful threshold. 50 minimum to make it worth the switch.
Yeah, as a rough guide. And there are online calculators that can shortcut all of this, which is worth mentioning because suppliers publish their rates in all sorts of different formats and units. And they slip in seasonal adjustments and rebates that are easy to miss if you're doing it on the back of an envelope.
The back of an envelope. Classic. All right, Assad, let's wrap this up. If people take away 3 or 4 things from this conversation, what should they be?
Okay, first, don't trust the bedroom rule on its own. Do the actual maths with your real numbers. Second, fix any leaks before you switch, not after. That's not negotiable. Third, remember you've got 24 months in England and Wales to change your mind, so use the trial period properly. Submit quarterly readings, keep records. And fourth, check for those hidden savings that most people miss, the surface water drainage rebate, and especially WaterSure if you're eligible. Those can be worth hundreds.
And for most low to mid usage households, especially in older properties with high rateable values, the savings are typically what, 150 to 250 a year?
Yeah, that's the range, 150 to 250 for the people it suits. And honestly, it's a 20-minute exercise that can save you that every single year for as long as you live in the property. That's hard to beat.
Hard to beat indeed. Assad, thank you so much for walking us through all of that. Really practical stuff.
My pleasure, Angela. Always good to talk about the boring stuff that actually saves people money.
The boring stuff that saves money. That should be our tagline. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you next time. Quick side note, this guide connects with other cost-saver blogs, especially common mistakes when moving between UK cities, checklist for verifying local service providers, and postcode crime data guide for renters.
Exactly. And reading those together helps you connect the dots across your household budget, not just this one topic in isolation.
And if you want to apply this immediately, jump into tools like Water Meter Savings Checker, metered versus unmetered right after this episode.
Primary sources used here include Consumer Council for Water and Money Saving Expert, so you can verify the data yourself and stay evidence-led.
That wraps this cost-saver conversation with Angela and Assad. If this helped, share it with someone who could put these ideas to work this week.
Your next step is simple. Try Water Meter Savings Checker, metered versus unmetered, then read common mistakes when moving between UK cities and use them together to take action today.